Yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Showalition. As coined by Danny Martinez, I am your host, Dana, joined by Mr. Coinster, Danny Martinez. How are you doing? How's that cough? What's dysentery like?
Dysentery is okay, and I better get a check in the mail for that name.
Okay, and just wondering, did you get the pink eye before the dysentery, or did the dysentery cause the pink eye?
I think I got pink eye just by watching the last episode, because watching that dude just poop out the entire cast was disturbing.
Well, he did finger you. So, um, let's talk about this final episode. This is the finale. This is the lead up into the big bad of the boys. And there are some things in here that I loved, that I hated, that I was confused about, and that I thought they missed. And you, of course, you sent me a message being like, "This is the greatest show that's ever existed."
You always
So
say
I wanted to know
that.
from you, what made this show so wonderful that you cried until you got pink eye?
It wasn't wonderful, and it was actually anticlimactic, and it was very. I feel like it was very lazily written in many aspects. I think it's great that they set up for the next season for the boys and everything, and how they're connecting everything. But the majority of the episode was just lazy writing.
See, I tried to warn you guys during the last review. I was like, the finale, and I'm like, you can like play it in the background. But they did have some interesting stuff.
Yeah,
So we
yeah.
will learn, we will talk about that. Um, the thing is, we do have Godolkin is made by the same V that Soldier Boy and Homelander is made from, as well as Marie. So at that moment, I was like, oh, this is going to be a really big threat. This is going to be superb. Um, and we saw how he was basically trying to gain strength and power to build up to Marie. See, what I did like about this was the fact that um, he had this plan and that he was going with this plan. And, just like everyday life, plans change. There's someone you don't count on, there's your head gets exploded. Certain things happen that can change the plan. So you could see that that's kind of like a realistic aspect about that I did kind of like the fact that he had the plan of he's going to confront Homelander. And
Mhm.
I thought his argument about Homelander surrounding himself by a bunch of really like untalented supes really was so because he was too insecure about being confronted, about being not being the best. And in a way, to me, that kind of made sense. Did you have any thoughts on that theory of like, oh, he's wrong, he's right?
About the other soups, like the weaker soups.
No, but the concept of not just the weaker soups, but the goal was to confront Homelander,
Mhm.
to control him, not only to just control him, but to make him realize that he's surrounding himself by people who are lesser than because of his own insecurity.
Well, so that's the thing that didn't make sense. That was another writing problem that I think they
Oh.
had, was that the way that they wrote Godolkin before during the villainous reveal, was that Godolkin wanted I guess you could say, a utopia of soups, the perfect soups, the strong soups. Why wouldn't he want Homelander? That's what doesn't make sense. So he now all of a sudden switches plans from, well, I don't want the weak soups at all, so I'm going to kill them all, to now I'm going to kill the strong soups because I want to be at the top of the pyramid. So like it was just a lot of like contradiction and just a lot of confusion and stuff, because what also didn't make sense was that he collected a bunch of those weak students and he started, messing them up and stuff. And I'm just like, weren't you just going to kill them? That was your goal. Why are you trying to torture them, and in some sense trying to make them stronger? The whole evolution stuff, and we'll talk about the pressure and the evolution and stuff like that he talks about and mentions. But like, it seemed like what he was trying to do was help them evolve and get stronger and make more use of of their powers. I'm just like, that's not what your goal was. Your goal was to kill the weak Supes and keep only the strong ones. So what is it with this change in motivation? Like, we've only had an episode between each other for the writing to change so dramatically in a character. So it really annoyed me. So like, all right, there's no reason why you need to go after Homelander. Homelander's at the top of the pyramid. You don't need to kill him. You need to be friends with him. You need to help him. That's how you make your utopia. So it didn't make sense to me.
See, I viewed it completely opposite. I viewed the killing of the students. He still wanted to kill the students and weed out who's the strongest one. And that is a way to do that. Whoever survives round one goes into round two, and then so on and so forth until you have like, there can only be one.
But he wasn't allowing them to fight, though. He was practically fighting himself because he was taking over the kids, and then the kids were fighting each other because he was forcing them to. So technically, it's not the kids, it's not the weak Supes fighting each other. It's him. He's allowing them to fight themselves, but it's really just him fighting.
But you could think of it this way. I thought of it not just in power, I thought of it as an intellect as well, because then why is Sister Sage here to begin with? So I viewed it as, it wasn't until we got the main group to realize, to utilize their powers and to utilize their strengths together in order to, and even though they were dying at that point, but to utilize their strengths and talents together to stop Godolkin. That's what I really thought. Because if you really wanted a showdown, obviously it would have been just between Polarity and Godolkin, which we kind of never really got because Marie kind of came in there.
I mean, the showdown's a separate discussion, though. I'm still talking about just the regular students, not even, the actual cast, the actual group, the regular normal students that aren't really a part of the show. Like, those guys were just like the whole, I feel like the whole scene was pointless, and it's just Godolkin having a god complex, and he wanted to show off his powers. And they mentioned it before, because I think Sage mentions it, that he was doing it to push himself further to the point so he could take over Marie, because he couldn't take over Marie, which also, by the way, was lazy writing, because they never in any way, shape, or form hinted that he was trying to take her over and couldn't. So now all of a sudden they just slipped that little, like, that. I think that's a big deal. That's a big plot point to mention. But you waited till the last episode to do that, so you can kind of like push the motivation of the villain a little bit more. So he wanted to evolve enough so he could take over Marie, and if he could take over Marie, then he could take over Homelander. So it was too much revealing and too much like changes in the story and the complexity of the characters for my liking.
Okay. I viewed it slightly different in terms of, he did say repeatedly in the other episodes that I don't want to use you as a weapon, even though he wanted to get her powers, to use the powers to control Homelander. So in a way, he didn't lie. He knew he couldn't control her, but if he got enough strength to be able to kind of impact and control her in a way to get her power to come into him, then that's how you can confront Homelander. So in a way, I kind of understood what he said, but I do understand of you saying that it was weak writing. Overall, for me, the show is just weak writing. But also to go with the God complex, it is called God. So there you go. So then kind of talk about the part when Godolkin died. His head exploded, which then just changed the whole everything. I was like, oh, we hadn't even predicted that he's gonna be the big bad come season 3. He ain't got no head. He gone.
That might be important.
That might be important. Again, you could have, I don't know what kind of power it would be without a head. But he'll be a head above the rest if that is the case. They bring him back. Do you think they should bring him back in any form? Or should we just get the big bad of, I'm going to just kind of assume that maybe a Homelander situation bleeds into Gen V, or I know we're getting a season 3, so I can't like it's ending. What do we do? Do we even care at this point?
So the way that it ended and the whole like
Yes.
resistance stuff seems like a really good setup for the boys, but as for season 3 of Gen V, because of the way everything ended and everything for Gen V we're talking about, for everything
Right.
in Gen V, everything seems like it was um finalized. Everything feels like there was closure for everything. I don't feel
Uh-huh.
like if you did a season 3, you'd pretty much be restarting and have to develop a whole new conflict of stuff and a new villain and whatever it might be. We've already got closure for Marie and Marie and Annabeth.
Annabeth.
We got closure for Kate because she got her powers back, and she was forgiven. We got closure for for Emily. Was that her name? The shrinking girl.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Emma.
we Emma. We got closure for her because she kind of moved on. She kissed the boy, and she's just kind of just like, all right, well, I'm gonna do what I want to do. You know, I'm proud and I'm strong and all that stuff. She got that. We kind of still got technically closure for Sam as well because he's trying to move past his mental disability and stuff. So everything is pretty much set. Like you just have to fit these kids into the boys, and that's it. As for Godolkin, I don't think they should have killed him off because I think it'd be stupid now to try to bring him back. They shouldn't have killed him off. He should have had. He's an important figure in general of the V serum and creating Supes. You killed him off in 2 freaking episodes. That how stupid are you to like kill someone off with that much power and that much importance to the world and lore of the boys, and now you can't use him. So no, you can't bring him back because then it'll just be dumb, stupid, lazy writing for how do you bring him back? He has like Wolverine powers or Deadpool powers, and he kind of like heals back up, or they do some stupid science thing where they like clone him or something. Like all of it sounds dumb at that point and pointless.
I think they should bring him back because you kind of mentioned where do they go from here with him being such an important character. I think that you could bring him back through some kind of way. I don't know, and let that be that. But if we are going at that route, I kind of do feel that there is nothing else that Gen V can do aside from, I can't even say live in the boys' world because the boys is ending.
Yeah.
And it just wouldn't be a point of that unless what? You're going to just create, maybe this just becomes a regular, normal teenage high school story with kids who just happen to have power. Or maybe they establish their own version of what is it? The seven, sorry,
The
the
7.
seven, and they go out and do heroic stuff, or what it happens after the resistance. I don't, because we don't know how the boys is going to end. Do we continue on with the resistance because we thought that the resistance was going to die down at, say if Homelander does die, will there be now someone ready to take his place and the resistance then has to live on through these kids? I don't know, but I do feel for just this series alone, it was very anticlimactic for me. And even though we'll get to the ending, it was like, okay, that's cute. Ooh. Like you always told me that the boys and Gen V were in the same universe, they will be tied together. It just didn't have that same kind of impact to see these characters that's in there. But as you did say, I am happy for the fact that everyone did get closure. So maybe they worked as a unit, as a team that seen that they had right before Kate got her powers back. With all of all of them together, kind of saying, I really needed you and I missed you, and girl, you're amazing. That was really sweet.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that felt like a big closure moment. And when Kate was sitting there crying and saying thank you, and her understanding everything that Marie was going through and what really happened. And there was that moment of trust. And then you can't really make Kate the villain because she was the villain in season one. You can't do the flippy floppy thing. It turns into like a Triple H storyline. You get the Usos every 5 seconds falling out, and then they love each other again. But yeah, that was. It's really interesting what may or may not all happen. I really did like that theory that Godolkin did have, and it made me just so disappointed because I thought Ethan Slater, who is the actor who played Godolkin, I think he played it really well. He was kind of this really slimy character. His morals are not good. He's not good as a person. And then the actor, that's questionable. But I really loved how everything about it was executed. So now we have to talk about the fact that she did kill him. So she was basically saying, thank you for your powers. So she just leveled up. What does this mean for her in Homelander? This is like legit puts her way over the top when it comes to Homelander and being stronger now. Because from my understanding, by controlling these kids, in a way, I would have really liked if they would have explained it that if he was able to absorb those kids' powers by controlling them, then he would level up, and then by Marie killing Godolkin, then she extra leveled up. But
so I will mention, I don't know, you remember the show Heroes?
Yes.
It was a great show to a point, but when they had the main character, I'm trying to remember, not Emilio, oh my god, what's his name? Milo Ventimiglia. His character, his powers were that he could absorb other people's powers. I remember they kind of wrote themselves into a hole because he started to become too powerful, because he started collecting powers and he was just a god pretty much. Like he couldn't be stopped in any sense. So like I think that you have to be careful with. Like I think absorbing powers would probably be a little too much, because then you kind of don't know what to do with. If he was a villain, you don't know how to stop him. If he was a hero, you don't know. You can't make a villain powerful or scary enough to thwart the hero. So it's like the whole absorbing powers things is a very difficult thing to kind of jump into in a comic book, like a live action show or movie or something.
And that's how we got the Phoenix, Jean Grey.
Yeah.
So then kind of going on to that situation, I wanted to bring up the whole sister stage of it all, because I know you had some very angry moments. And then I was like, maybe it'll work. And then you're like, it's lazy. Please expound on the laziness of it all, because I may be dipping my toe in that pond.
So I think in The Boys, they did a very good job at presenting her as a genius. They did a very good job at her kind of being the puppet master of a lot of things going on. I think in Gen V, they did an awful job. I think they kind of showed her, she's sexing herself around with technically Cipher, but it was really Godolkin, sure. But first it's Cipher, and then she's jumping on Godolkin, and I guess she's using them, or him, I should say, for whatever her agenda is. Fine, that's fine, perfectly fine. But she seems like that she was manipulating him and had things under control, but we don't know what her plans are. This show didn't present her as like, we know her intentions. We know that point A leads her to point B, leads her to point C, but if C doesn't work, then it'll lead her to point A1 or A2, and then it'll lead to B2, and then if C2 doesn't work, then B3, and like the different plans and stuff like that. And it just seems like she was just in this show relying on Godolkin to be the factor to kind of change things. And he was the main plan for her. And then once Godolkin had this idea of just like, no, I'm going to do what I want, and I'm gonna go kill Homelander. And she just freaked out. Like she's just like, no, that wasn't part of the plan. We had an agreement. Like, what are you doing? Yada yada. And it didn't even seem like she was acting. Like Sage, we're talking about. Like it didn't seem like she was like, oh no, please don't go, Homelander. That wasn't my plan at all whatsoever. Like she seemed genuinely like, oh shit, my plans are falling apart. So she didn't come off as a genius. She didn't come off as someone who's manipulating things behind the scenes anymore. It kind of went from like, ooh, what's Sage up to versus now it's like, oh, Sage is fucked. Now she's like, her plans fell apart and now she has to go run back to Homelander or whatever she does. So I didn't like the way her character was portrayed here, and she was more used as like a side character. And it's just like she didn't show of any importance in this show whatsoever. It was more of just like, let's throw in another character from the boys to kind of connect everything. So I didn't enjoy her connection.
But you could make the argument that the goal was to get rid of Godolkin. And that is why Homelander was calling in the middle of the kids fighting everyone. Because remember, she was that call and she was like, she didn't take it.
Mm-hmm.
We're kind of like, well, Liz, I'm pretty sure it's not like, hey, where are you? Let's go get some ice cream. I felt that it obviously would have been something nefarious. I also feel that if those kids were able to be found by Starlight so easily and knew exactly what was going on, so could Homelander. So sure. I feel that Homelander could have easily sent her out to continue to be the master manipulator. Now, you could say her ultimate plan is to get rid of Homelander, and she has to continue to play the side of, I'm your friend, homie. I'm right here with you, and therefore not knowing, therefore having to get rid of Godolkin. And her saying, oh no, don't do that, would make it too obvious. If she pretended to have genuine concern, no.
That's the thing, though. Although I would agree with you, you can't make up what wasn't presented to you. Like, it didn't make it obvious, or there wasn't any disclosure for us as the viewers to understand that this is still part of her plan in some way. I'm not saying the whole plan needs to be revealed. I'm just saying that they have to hint at the fact that her plans are still in motion, that whatever it is that Godolkin had planned, or like the changes that he started to make, she was still okay with it. It wasn't clear in any sense that she had control. So for you to make those things up, it's more like a hope rather than, oh yeah, you can refer to this, but you're still just kind of just making it up on the fly.
But do you believe that the audience should know everyone's intent? Isn't that what made Usual Suspects so good?
But this is what I'm talking about with bad writing, is that I don't want them to, and I don't expect them to give us the whole thing. I expect you to give a hint and to intrigue our minds as to whether, is this really her plans? Is this according? Did she really think that this was going to happen and she considered it all? And this is really what's going on? Like, have us talk about it and come up with theories and stuff. But none of that was presented in this episode, or the show for that matter, like what involving Sage. Like, it seemed like Sage had a plan. It didn't go right. And now she's screwed. That's it. That's all that it felt like.
It seemed to me that when we saw Homelander on the screen, that was an indication that she could be wishy-washy.
No, that was an indication that, because remember, she didn't plan on, they had to talk when they were in bed, and she didn't plan. She said they had to have a plan on how to present Godolkin to Homelander, because Homelander's full of himself. He doesn't like surprises, and he might find him as a threat because he doesn't trust people. That's perfect. You know the character, so that's expected. And then Godolkin kind of just like, no, I'm going to do my own thing. And he kind of reveals himself to the world via fucking, a stream or something to the school and stuff. So Homelander calls and she's freaking out. She's just like, this is not what we had planned. This is not the way I wanted to introduce you to Homelander. She even says it. She's like, this is not how we introduce you to Homelander. And then Homelander calls her. So Homelander probably saw it on television screaming, what the hell? And calls Sage because like this wasn't part of the plan. Or who is this guy? We don't know yet. Maybe they'll do like a little Easter egg of Homelander calling Sage at some point in a flashback and wondering why the hell Godolkin's on TV. Maybe. But it just seemed like the phone call from Homelander was another unexpected part of the plan, and Sage couldn't give him an answer, so she had to ignore the call.
Okay.
Because of course you're gonna get scared of Homelander. If Homelander's pissed at you, you don't want to answer that phone call.
Homelander could still be a problem for Sister Sage in the sense that what if to say, for example, we wanted to meet the person who literally created him.
Agreed. Yeah. But again,
so
if that was true, then they would make it apparent in the writing. Like maybe like, for example, like Homelander leaves a voicemail and says, hey, who is this guy on the phone? Is it really Godolkin? I'd love to meet him. Click. Done. That's your little hint of just like, okay, this. But you're not giving us anything. In the writing, you're not giving us anything to make a proper assumption. All we're going off of is like, oh, maybe this or maybe that, sure. But you got to at least give us a little trail or a little hint, a little something to assist us with like, okay, maybe it's going this way. But the fact that she just ignores the phone call and then we don't hear anything again from Homelander ever again, I'm just like, what was the point? So they don't give us nothing.
I only feel that they're not giving us anything because it's not their show. I think, what does it say when they come back to The Boys? We get his side of that phone call. So then does it then dilute everything? Because they are so togetherly connected.
Yeah, sure. But if you're going to intricately connect, both shows, why don't we get a voicemail? If Homelander does, in fact, let's say, leave a voicemail, why didn't we hear it in Gen V? So that's how you can still connect the things and kind of at least as the viewers make us be like, okay, he was actually okay with the reveal of Godolkin. Let's see where this goes. But now we don't know. We don't know anything. We don't know if this is part of Sage plans. We don't know if everything's falling apart for her. We don't know if Homelander was pissed or not. Like, we know nothing. All we got was a lot of exposition, a lot of really quick exposition, and then a really lame death. And then we get an Avengers style ending towards the end of the show. Like it was like a freaking 15-year-old wrote the script that they just wanted a bunch of cool moments with no structure.
I agree. Do you feel that it's lazy writing to just call her, Sister Sage, the smartest person in the world and just have her in the corner being like nothing in terms of we don't know that thought process? Or is that just, is it just lazy in general overall to have someone that we're supposed to be is so smart just in the corner, like, oh, it's part of my plan, and we don't know whether or not that is part of the plan? Because she could have said either way it was part of her plan.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, she could even lie. Yeah, she could even say, yeah, sure, it's part of her. But at least that's something. At least that's something, though, that you're giving to the viewers. I like the idea that Sister Sage can be the smartest person in the world, and she keeps her composure at all times. She doesn't seem like she gets flustered too much. Like, yeah, sure, she'll like when she found out Godolkin kind of revealed himself without her knowing, she kind of got a little bothered by it, but she wasn't like, crazed, mad and like whatever. It's almost like she's just like, oh, okay, so this didn't go as planned. Let's see how else we could figure this out. But that's great character-wise, but writing-wise for the viewers, nothing was shown to us that things are still going according to plans or things are off the rails for her.
Okay, I do understand that. My whole thing is that I'm just wondering if this is the show to show all of that, since technically these are characters from their own show, and they're going to have their upcoming, what do you call it, storyline whenever it does come on. And so I'm just wondering if we're pouring too much into one show and not giving it that proper balance. It's just that's kind of just what I'm wondering when it comes to that. So then kind of moving on with that, Black Noir is back. I didn't expect him. That was
Black
so
Noir
random.
2.0.
Black Noir 2.0. I don't think there's another one. This one talks too much, so it's the same one. He's just talking and talking and talking. So basically, Polarity, after saving the day, and Marie's like, look, I just leveled up.
Poor Cipher's
I will say this real quickly. That sequence of him being the puppet master was wonderful. Like, I legit was, I was like, oh, he got her. That was a good twist.
Which scene? What are you talking about?
Remember the scene right before Godolkin's head exploded where we thought that Godolkin was able to control Marie?
Yeah.
I thought that scene was lovely.
And then he explodes? Yeah. That was good.
And then Polarity's like, ha-ha, it's me. So I did love that concept right there. But I will say this. Black Noir ended up killing Cipher. And before that, there was a really nice talking about closure. Polarity had real good closure about his son's death. Where he was explaining what Chance, would pee in what is it, Cipher's coffee and all this other mess. And he really had great closure with that. And then came Black Noir, who then took a selfie. But this is all under the instruction of Sister Sage, it seemed like. She had him and both Polarity and, not, I guess, she didn't have Black Noir hold hostage, but the point is Polarity was held in that cage area thing. Again, that could be all part of the plan,
Yes, that I agree, but that was in response to the fact that Godolkin didn't do what she had planned. So she had to change things to be like, okay, well, Godolkin's clearly can't be controlled and clearly has his own intentions. I can't control him now. So I'm going to introduce a variable, which is polarity.
True. I agree with that part. But I do you see, that's just the ambiguity of the character. Again, you could say bad writing. The ambiguity was that even all still part of the plan. Because to me, every time she does that weird thing with her eyes, you know what it looks like? She's trying to have a stroke. It looks like she's thinking. And she's going through all the different variables like Dr. Strange did.
Yeah.
So to me, every time that she does that, it's like, okay, I have to switch plans because I'm still going to be smart and outsmart everyone. So you could make the argument that it is still technically all a part of the plan, even though it wasn't part of the plan. She's able to change her plan. See, the loophole right there in the writing is that she changed the plan to still be the best plan.
Yeah, I'm not saying you're right or wrong about it. It's all plausible. I just think that the writing itself didn't present itself properly in order for us to believe that.
Okay. So what do you think about the ending? Basically, they're the Resistance 2.0 or another part of the resistance who's not joining the main resistance, but there still are. And we got not only Starlight, but A-Train. That was a nice little cute moment.
That was cool. I thought it was a badass scene because then they also played Nirvana in the background, which I think was a perfect song. But
they did that last season.
Yeah. It all fit very well. It was a cool scene, but it was also it felt very much like a 15-year-old wrote it. Like, if I was writing the script, that's probably, like, as a 15-year-old, I'd probably do something along those lines. It's like this badass scene, Avengers style get together. They all do the little stance at the end because they're all together now. And I'm just like, it's cool. Look how cool this is. They're like some cool ass teens and with powers and stuff. And I was just like, this is really bad and cringy. I was just like, okay. It was fun. It was definitely fun, but it didn't like really do much for me.
I thought it was cute. It didn't have the same impact as season 1 finale, which kind of let me down when we got into season 2. It was like, oh, that's it? Go back to school?
Yeah.
Because they made such a big show out of it.
Yeah.
Like they kidnapped them. People were being split. No.
Yes.
And I was like, ooh, something's gonna happen. And then you have the whole Nirvana, which they did again play in season 1, where it was like it started off really slow, and I'm like, oh, something's gonna happen. And then you had the slow-mo with the hair bouncing because Kate was the evil
sorry,
one.
not Nirvana. Oh my god. Hand That Feeds, right? Hand That Feeds. Is that Nirvana?
I don't know the song.
Oh my god.
Where did the song go? I forgot.
Sorry, Nine Inch Nails. Ooh, that was, people are gonna kill me for getting that wrong. Hand That Feeds was what played. 9 Inch Nails. Yeah. Because I love that song.
All bands
I don't know why. Well, they all sound the same, right? But yeah, 9 Inch Nails.
Start with an N, 9 Inch Nails.
Sorry, go on.
But yeah, no. So I thought that, the problem with the show for me sometimes is the consistency of the writing to make something feel like it's important all the way through. And so with this finale, it just kind of felt like, hey, want to go in the car? Find Homelander. Okay. Or like, okay, I get it. But it just really didn't have that much of an impact on me, really. So I don't know how to properly would have ended it. Maybe if Godolkin's head just exploded and they're like, end. I don't know. But the problem is that it just really did feel anticlimactic. We know that Homelander is waiting. Something is going on there. But that's kind of it, really. They mentioned the Deep, but they didn't really say that. They called the Deep for the Deep. They called him like stupid.
Yeah, he's just a fish. I'm not gonna
Fishman.
Which
makes a lot of sense.
He's always getting
neglected. This is why I really wanted a conversation with Homelander and Godolkin. For Godolkin to be like, I didn't create you to be mediocre. I didn't create you to stay around these, boring people with no powers. What does the Deep do? Nothing. What does, I don't know, the rest of them do?
She said nothing. The firecracker girl. What was her name?
The firecracker girl.
I forget her name. Yeah.
Firestarter, I think her name is. I'm not even sure. I don't even remember. That's to show just how not important that they really are. Homelander, you're the big bad of everything else. I created you this way. How amazing for me it would have been if Godolkin and Homelander did team up. It's like a Frankenstein and his monster situation.
That'd be a strong adversary.
Right. And I think when you had so much of a longing for Homelander when it came to Soldier Boy being his father, right? Right. So with Soldier Boy being his father, you have Godolkin as technically the grandfather. What that relationship has been like? And I think that he wants a connection so bad. That's the human aspect of Homelander. You see how insecure he is. He's still probably drinking somebody's booby milk. So, I just kind of really thought that it would have been so much smarter to not kill him and to let us see that whole relationship. So I will say for me that it was very anticlimactic when it came to that ending. I'm more excited to see the boys as opposed to see more of Gen V. So
are you more excited to see the boys because of, what would you say more, like the story or the characters, or is it everything all together? Because I miss characters like Huey and Butch. Like those guys make the show fun.
Yeah, I miss the characters, I miss the storyline, and I miss the acting. I miss what is Homelander, not even just what is Homelander gonna do. What's Butch gonna do now? He's fully superpowered. And like we said before, what I said was like maybe Marie can cure him. So he's not dying every 5 seconds when he uses his powers. See, now why did we give her a healing ability? Yeah, to cure her polarity, but now you're stepping into another world where we have, Butch hanging on for life support and he's seeing dead people.
Now that you mention that, I want to make a bet right here. Ooh. I want to make a bet that like in The Boys, the final season for The Boys, we probably won't see Marie till literally the last few episodes. Like maybe she'll make a cameo here and there, or they'll hint at her here and there, sure. But like, I mean, like her actual involvement, we probably won't see her till the end, and she's gonna be that ex machina to heal Butch, so we can finally get the showdown. Because Butch is gonna keep dying. He's gonna keep killing himself throughout the rest of the show until the point where he's damn near in his deathbed, or maybe he's getting messed up by Homelander, and then Marie goes in there and just heals him. And now we got the real showdown between Butch and Homelander, because now we got a healed Butch. So I feel like that's all Marie is gonna be used for. She's just gonna be that moment of just like, Butch is healed. Now we can get our fight going.
Muted. You don't think there will be a brother-sister moment between her and Homelander?
Marie well, yeah, towards the end. Like I'm sure like when she's healing Butch, like either Homelander's gonna be like, who are you? Or maybe actually be like, oh, I remember who you are, and maybe have a little like interaction with each other. But like we mentioned when we reviewed the rest of the series, episode 1 through 6, was it? I mentioned my prediction, and I would love it, and I don't think it's going to happen, is a 3-way fight. Marie versus Homelander versus Butch.
You just want a threesome, period.
That's weird. No. But I think what's really going to happen is really just Marie's going to have a very small involvement towards the end of the show, to kind of just help things along between the real conflict between Butch and Homelander, and that's it.
Okay, I want more than that. I want to sit down.
Oh yeah, I do.
Dinner style conversation where Homelander is putting everything together. Sister Sage is basically the mediator, and you have Marie there. Maybe Annabeth. I'm not really sure. Because they technically had it at the same time, so they would be all brother and sister. But she's kind of like a non-factor.
Did they say the sister was part of the Odessa? They didn't say she was Odessa.
She's not Odessa?
No. Okay. They said only that's 2. Right. They kept on saying 2.
That's right. He kept saying, I'm the second one.
Right.
That's right. He said, I'm the second one who made it. It's just me and Homelander. I mean, Marie and Homelander. You get the point. Point I'm saying is, I want that dinner style conversation, and then I want it to completely implode. We realize that we're on 2 different sides of the table. We're never gonna have to. You're never gonna see eye to eye, and that's when like this is war situation. Mm-hmm. Because I do feel that Sister Sage can be like kind of like let's calm down, and he would kind of listen to her until he can't anymore. But I don't know how you can't really reason with someone trying to build a master race, can you? So
yeah,
it's interesting what'll end up happening. I don't know, but it's fun. Is there any other final thoughts that you have with this series?
I mean, the series overall is fun. It's still just really lazy, simple writing. It's not a complicated show. And I expected it to be more like The Boys, which it isn't. But maybe that's just the old man in me, because it's dealing with a bunch of kids that I don't get. But who knows? I did want to mention another problem that I had with this episode. Mm-hmm. It was too easy and too stupid to set up a trap with Godolkin. Hence the whole, that's how you get pink eye. Like the whole like coming, they call him Black Hole, by the way, the guy with the butt power where you can hide in his thing. So like the fact that everybody hid it in there except for Kate and Marie to sneak in was very unnecessary. Because like you got to keep in mind, Kate used her powers to tell a guard to let Marie in, right? One, why couldn't she just let Marie in and the rest of the group? And if it was like a trap in the sense that like you had to get the entire crew in there, including I don't remember the names, but the one that could steal powers with the tail, and the one with the pube hair. Oh God, that's so weird. The pube hair one, like, okay, fine, that they can hide in the a-hole, sure, fine, but the rest of the group, it almost felt like it was unnecessary. Like this whole trap, the way that they went about it was unnecessary, because you got to keep in mind with the black hole power, they come out one at a time. So it's almost like Godolkin. It's almost like a Power Ranger moment where you're waiting for the Power Rangers to change into their Power Ranger form, and they're doing all the moves, and they got to do the morpher thing, and like the villain is just laughing the entire time. So it's like Godolkin's in the background just watching the entire cast one by one come out of an anus, and I'm just like, this is stupid. Like, just have them all come out from the back with Marie, and maybe surprise the power stealer and the pube hair girl, like with Black Hole coming out. Like it just, the whole trap was it went too smoothly, too easily, and too slowly. So
it was again.
That was again with the shock value for no reason whatsoever. It's like, again, these writers are immature people who just like to shove as much shock value as possible without any substance, without any rhyme or reason whatsoever. And this is what I can't stand about both shows, actually, because The Boys is guilty of that too. So it's okay if you want to add a little toilet humor and a little bit of like some shock value to it, but when every 5 to 10 minutes I got to deal with a butt joke, or someone's getting molested, or BDSM dungeons and stuff like that, and it's just it's enough. It's enough. I'm over it. Just stop.
Again, he's upset he wasn't invited to Herogasm. But I agree that it was a gag that wasn't necessarily needed. And I thought we were moving on, especially when it came from season 1, where I'm looking at penises and everything else and actual holes. It was a lot. And my thing is, do that, include that, sure, but make it mean something. And even if it's like, oh, it's just for fun, don't drown us with it.
Yeah. Like for example, Rufus, yes, his power, and like he roofies people. Like that exploding penis scene made sense because he deserves that shit. Like, he does not deserve to have a penis ever again in his life. So like that moment was a good moment. It was just like, he got what he deserves. Great. But now I still see a bunch of other, like, pee-pee and poo-poo jokes just all the time for just no reason whatsoever. And it's just like, it gets old quick.
Yeah, it is getting, I thought it was getting a little bit too old when it came to The Boys sometimes. And I think that even when it came to The Boys, it was done better than it did in Gen V. It kind of felt like these are the 15-year-olds that are writing on the show, as opposed to at least The Boys. We have like maybe a 32-year-old who still hasn't gotten over it yet, but he's maturing a little bit when it comes to his
just a little bit,
his debauchery, just a little bit. But yeah, I kind of have to. Yeah, I agree with you. And for me, I just thought that overall it was okay season. I think if we were to minus everything that with The Boys that was going around, it still would have been an okay season. I think it was really more about the ending and how it ended and what's going to happen with Marie and her leveling up. I can't speak words. Upgrading her powers.
Yeah.
So I thought it was okay. It wasn't something that, it wasn't must-see TV for me. It was like, every week I got to watch this. Oh my God, what's next? Oh gosh, let me binge the entire screeners in one sitting. It wasn't like that. As opposed to other shows, it's been like, I got to watch this and I got to take notes of what's going on. Oh my God, this moment, I'm waiting months to tell you guys, this is what happens. It was like, oh, okay. I saw it. All right, what's next? Kind of thing. So maybe will improve. We got The Boys. I don't know if we even have an air date for that. A release date.
So let's see. I don't know.
I don't believe that we have a release date for The Boys.
Yeah, it just says they'll release.
Yeah,
What is this?
soon.
Confirming that filming on the fifth season. Filming of the fifth season concluded on July 2nd, 2025. We'll get it in 2026.
Okay, so in 2026, if we're all still alive and standing, then we'll watch it then. But it wasn't like, oh my God, I need to know the next episode has to come on. Where's the boys? I need it right now. Well, it was like, okay. So we'll see what ends up happening. But overall, it was okay. I like the fact that Kate is back with her powers and we don't know where she stands. And maybe she'll just die.
She'll redeem herself
So,
and die. And the boys, maybe.
so sad. So that has been everything that we have to say kind of about the Gen V season 2 finale. Catch us when we're going to talk about other things, of course, coming in the future. We have It. It is dropping. So that is this Sunday. You learn more about It. And we'll see. We'll talk about it, what's going on with schedules and everything else. But it does look fun. It does look interesting, a little Pennywise, and it's very scary and it's very gory and it's gross, but in the best way.
By the way, they did mention that you won't be seeing Pennywise early on to the season because he can take many forms.
So this piece of paper right here, this Penny, we've been chilling with each other. But we'll see. But yeah, it is one of those shows where you gotta watch very closely because you don't know who may be in the corner or right in front of your face. And it's focused on this town. And I love the fact that it's multi-layered. So it'll be amazing, I'm sure. So I've been your host, Dana, speaking with Mr. Danny Martinez. Hopefully his pink eye has cleared up. Got rid of that cough.
I don't have pink eye.
As you rub your eye.
Making people think that I got pink eye.
Oh, okay, Mr. And that's how you got pink eye. We will see you soon. So thank you, everyone.
Peace.
Peace.